Welcome to an all new episode of the Talking Shop podcast. This is season 3, episode 2, hence the new intro music. I like it. My name is Josh from Grand Slam Cards in Rock Hill, along with Michael, Medium Rare Cards, over on Instagram. And in the background, we have It's Cobb over on the gram as well, ready to talk some Talking Shop sports cards, a little bit of TCG, but mostly sports cards. How's it going, Michael? Long time no see.
I know. Coming off of another long weekend. A couple weeks ago, we were at the National, and then this weekend, I had my yearly golf trip. I will get into that. But first, let me do the rundown real quick. This goes over our format. We've changed it up just a little bit, but after the rundown, we'll do the opening rip. We'll talk about my golf trip. I'll make it about me a little bit. And we are at the end of the summer. Kids are going back to school soon. Thank you, Lord. And that means football season, and we'll talk a little bit of football. Then we're going to go over what's hitting the shelves at Grand Slam. Sort of another light week, sort of the calm before the storm as far as fall products coming into the shop. Then we're going to jump behind the counter, talk about Card Night 3 and whether or not we should be targeting some things at Card Night 3. We've got a few questions coming our way that Josh and I will try to tackle and wrestle to the ground. Hits from the shop, and then crazy stat of the week. But first, Josh, the opening rip. I had a wonderful time at my golf trip, but I am so bad at golf. Josh, is there a sport that used to be like clearly better than a lot of folks, but now that if you tried to play it now, it's gone? Did you ever do any of that? I know that you were a baseball player, right? You were a high-level baseball player, still play a little bit of softball, but I mean, my goodness, my skills have eroded.
Did you just have a bad weekend, though? That could have been some of it.
So there were a couple times where mentally I was like, I'm done. I'm never playing golf again. And then I'd hit this nice shot and go, okay, I could still do this. But golf is funny, right? You know, I don't know if you've ever played golf, but you've played competitive sports. And then there's practice. Talk about practice.
I'm competitive at practice. Let's just, if that tells you.
I know, but so the difference between golf and other sports is in baseball or football or other sports, you can just try harder. You can like get aggressive and sort of get through a lull. But golf, it's almost the more aggressive you get, the more you try to just hold on to the steering wheel, the less control you actually have. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, that would be similar to baseball. You just gotta calm down, take a deep breath, refocus.
I don't think it helped that it was the last day. The heat index in Myrtle Beach was 108.
Yeah, I spent part of my Sunday, chopping down weeds and cutting down big limbs with a chainsaw, and I had 2 of my young kids out there helping me for a little bit of spending money because they're always asking me if they can earn some money. And we were drenched. It's like working in a sauna, but
it was fun.
First time, because I'm a hot weather guy. For the first time, this year I said I'm kind of ready for fall.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, that's a great segue. I'm ready for fall too. Love baseball. Baseball is winding down. I don't know if the playoff picture is set yet. We may talk about that in the next couple weeks. But the thing for me, and you could almost feel it in the air when preseason football starts. That fall is here. Did you catch any preseason football? Did you catch any preseason football? And did anything make an impression on you?
So I didn't watch any live, but I did catch some highlights, and I checked in on some of the big names. You know, the ones I'm kind of looking for this year. Obviously, everyone's got their eyes on Aaron Rodgers. You know, they seem to be looking pretty good, even though Aaron didn't play. The Jets look pretty good. Looks like he's taken Zach Wilson under his wing a little bit, so let's not write Zach off completely. But I heard Trey Lance struggled, which doesn't bode well if Purdy's waiting in the wings or if there's any type of quarterback situation there. Um, Bryce Young struggled, but I didn't catch any of that, but I heard it was the O line took the blame for that. They said we just did a horrible job of protecting him. So there's definitely some players we should target and some that we should be careful of. And I have to be careful what I say because I want to sell some of these cards as well. But I would be very nervous if I was a Trey Lance collector.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not to the point where, look at Jordan Love. I think he looked pretty good too, if I remember right, what little bit he played. So he was written off for dead, and I sold a great Jordan Love card when he was in the toilet. And so Zach,
Look
Trey, any of
around.
these guys
Yeah.
can end up in the right situation, sit behind someone for a little bit. You remember
Well,
when guys?
who was in the game for a long time for a starter, and he was getting knocked around a little bit.
Hmm.
Was my guy Russell Wilson.
Oh, really? I didn't
Um,
catch that.
so the commentary was he looked okay. It's certainly a different feel now that Sean Payton's there. But the overwhelming sentiment was, wow, Payton's going to put him out there. He's going to make him prove it a little bit. So that was cool. And then our guy, the ex-Patriot, the ex-Auburn guy, Jarrett Stidham, looked good.
Over at where's he at? Oakland?
He is
No,
backing
he.
up Russell Wilson in
Oh,
Denver.
in Denver. I didn't know that. I probably heard that and
So,
forgot it.
right. So let me ask you this. I know that you don't watch college football. What would it take for you to start watching college football?
Mm.
Mm.
For college football cards to really bring big value, I would probably then just by default need to keep a better, closer tab on that. I know as they
So
get,
it would need to be tied to cards because you don't have a personal connection to a college.
I
So
just don't. Yeah,
interesting. I
I don't.
think this is my hot take for the week. If you went, regardless of who was playing, but if you went to a fall game, it was nice and cool, somewhere in the Southeast Conference, whether it was Georgia, Auburn, Bama, if you went to a home game for one of those teams and it was like a nighttime game, you would be sold. Regardless of who
I'm going to
you would
shoot
root
that theory down right away. I
on,
hate
man.
crowds. I hate crowds, and I hate concerts, and I hate live sporting events, and I hate crowds. So that would do the opposite for me. But
Boo.
I
We need
I
like the
know I'm
news
a
ticker. We need
huge.
like the news ticker here. It's like
Yeah,
Jacob threw it onto the screen here. Breaking news. I don't know. I'll probably throw that in post, but breaking news. Ezekiel Elliott has signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with the
Patriots.
Patriots.
I saw this. I saw it before we went live. There was an article that said it looked like he was. I got a notification come across my phone that said he announced that he would probably sign with the Patriots. So I'd actually much rather have the Cowboys running back that's still in Dallas, Tony Pollard, because he's a better running back, in my opinion, than Ezekiel Elliott. But I'm down with this. Another little weapon for the Patriots, something to help Mac Jones out a little bit.
Oh yeah, Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi are like, heck yeah. Let's get somebody to carry the load and take some heat off of us and shorten the games. Absolutely, this is a great fit. And Belichick has always done as much with running backs as any coach in the history of the NFL. So I think this is a great move. So as long as Zeke stays healthy, I think he's got some good years in front of him. So thank you for throwing that up there, Jacob. Apparently our banter needed a little help, so we threw some news in there. All right, new in the shop this week, Josh. We've mentioned it's a bit light, but at the end of the week, there is a heavy-hitting product hitting the shelves, and it's got you excited and worried and excited. And let's talk about the stuff before that. Some sports stuff, and then the heavy hitter in the shop is a TCG game that everybody's been talking about. Josh, what's hitting the shelves?
Yes, so Wednesday launching Immaculate Collegiate Football, so high-end football product in the collegiate uniform, which will make it not quite as high-end, but Immaculate Collegiate. That's Wednesday, along with Topps Archive Signature Series, the Retired Player Edition. Those are the boxes with one card. It's a buyback autographed card of any baseball player. This edition is all retired players. Leaf Exotic Football. That's a fun football product by Leaf. It was new last year. That's a Friday launch. And then Friday, like you were teasing, Disney Lorcana, which is a new TCG, which stands for Trading Card Game if you're new to that genre. It launches Friday, so we're excited. I'm nervous because while we are getting more than most stores will get, we're not getting enough. We're not going to get enough to meet the demand, so that'll be a little tricky. But we were chosen to be not only carry the product, but we're a sanctioned tournament store. So if we want to run sanctioned Lorcana tournaments, we are authorized to do that. And so that helped, I think, with getting a little more product than others, and potentially a second wave of that product not long after. So I can't vouch for everyone getting a box, but we're going to start carrying it, and it's going to be super exciting.
Fantastic. So a couple things. Do not sleep, folks. Do not sleep on this Retired Player Edition baseball. Will you get the occasional "Who's that"? Absolutely. But will you? Is there a chance you're going to get a Hall of Fame autograph? Absolutely. I mean, this is, everybody sort of skews towards the modern player. I know there's a modern or a current player edition of this, but I've seen some of the cards coming out of this retired edition set. They're awesome. And then to jump on, to add on to the Lorcana stuff, if you're not familiar with it, they introduced Lorcana, I believe it was last year at D23. That's sort of like their Comic-Con at Disney. And everybody that attended got a base Mickey Mouse. And so just think of Mickey Mouse in sort of a Magic the Gathering card. And then I'm not sure how they pick these, the people that got them, but there's a 6-card set. I think Cruella, Elsa, and some other very recognizable characters, and that's the beauty about this product. There's the set right there. If you're watching, these cards are beautiful. I believe that initial 6-card set, they're all have that foil treatment. Josh, and don't cheat by looking, but the PSA graded set of this, the 6-card set, what do you think it trades for right now?
Oh, I would have no idea. Like graded, what grade?
Great, all PSA 10s. I think one sold recently as a set.
One set did. I don't know. 50 grand. I don't know. I'm just
I think this one that Jacob just flashed it up there. It was like just a shade under $13,000.
that looked raw though.
Though that's raw. I
Yeah, so if
think a
they're all
graded
discs,
set. I think the last graded set was is north of $20,000.
nice.
So that's what's providing the initial buzz behind this. Is
Yeah,
that
and
this initial set has done so well in the secondary market. It's Disney. It's a TCG game. I guess if there's any time for me to get into a TCG game and actually play it, it'd probably be this. I'm a huge Disney fan, and so that
yeah, I
I
think
it's
we've
fantastic.
talked about this with Disney owning it. The next expansion could be Pixar, or it could be Star Wars, or it could
Yeah.
be. I think Star Wars won't be one of the original. I think that'll be maybe down the road a little bit, but they have a lot of Disney characters to start with for sure. But
Yeah.
it's going to pull from young kids. It's going to pull from people our age because we grew up with these characters, and um, yeah, it'll be really interesting. I wish I was getting more.
So Josh, talk to me about how you feel like this game is going to play. Is it going to be more Magic or is it going to be more Pokemon as far as the dynamics of how
It
this is going
looks
to
like
play?
dynamics wise, it looked like more Magic,
Okay.
just because it looked like the different cards. Well, and every TCG somewhat plays the same. Um, I don't know if it's like with Pokemon, you're trying to knock their Pokemon out X amount of times. And I think I think you got 6 prize cards you're earning, and when all your prize cards are gone, then you win. Shows you how little I know about Pokemon. But with Magic, each player has a starting health, and you're doing damage to the player. So I don't know in the sense of how it plays that way. From looking at the cards, it looked like statistically it looked closer to Magic, which is probably more what most TCG games coming out with are more like that. There's been a lot of other new ones lately, and they all have kind of more of a Magic feel to them. But as far as the mechanics go, but I don't know enough.
Awesome.
I'll know. I will probably get a couple of the starter decks, and then me and my kids will probably learn how to play it. And
Fantastic. Well, I'm thinking about dipping my toe in and actually not just collecting and opening in a box just to be part of the hype, but actually learning how to play. So we'll see.
I'll play you. Well, we could play a game on the podcast. Oh,
absolutely. Josh, let's jump behind the counter and talk about an event we've got going this weekend, Card Night 3. If you haven't seen it on the socials or you haven't gotten an email about it, you'll be hearing about it leading up to it this Saturday. It is this Saturday from 4 to 9. Josh, you want to drop some information about that real quick?
Yes. So Card Night 3, it's going to be over at Woodhaven Baptist Church. This is our 3rd time over there, right? Yep. So it's right by the shop. So if you're local to Rock Hill, you haven't been there, it's just a couple minutes from the shop. So it's really easy. Admission is free. There'll be some giving away goodies at our tables. And then anybody can grab their own table. They're either $15 for a 6-footer or $20 for an 8-foot table. Set out whatever you want to try and sell. And as customers come through, wheel and deal. I don't think anyone's ever done this card night and not made their money back at their table. In fact, the last one, many people told me they did pretty well. So it's not going to be as big as a card show, which is why we don't call it a card show. And we got more room than trade night at the shop. So this is card night, a combination of both, kind of a fun little trade night with more room over in the gym. Just come and hang out, sell some stuff. We're buying. The store is buying. We're in a buying mode right now for singles because we sold so many at the National. So if you have we're going to make the rounds. And if you have cards priced right, we'll buy them. So
this is going to be about you or Jacob or anybody else on the team, but this is going to be my first show post-National. And so this little segment behind the counter, I'm going to throw some names out to you, and I want you to say whether you would buy, wait, or it's already too late. Buy, wait, or already too late. So let's start with baseball. And the obvious one is Shohei. Buy,
No,
wait, or too late.
no. Before Shohei, I'm going to do a really quick and easy one. Wander Franco, sell ASAP. Did you
Why
see
would
the
you say
new?
that? No, I
You
didn't see
haven't
the
seen the
news.
news. All right. So he is not with the team currently while investigation is pending. He has social media photos with a girl that I think is 13 or 14 years old. And the mother claims that they refused hush money or something like that. And so,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So it's not looking very good. And there's some pictures of Wander with her and some other rumors. So innocent until proven guilty. I said for Wander's sake, I hope she has a fake ID that said she was 19 years old, but it's not looking very good. So and you could say I shouldn't have said anything, and we could just sell all of our Wander cards for half price to Michael, but now he's not a buyer. So Wander
Oh my
Franco,
goodness. Too
I'm
late.
I'm a seller. It's probably
Sell
probably
stuff.
too late now, but
Too
for
late.
his sake, for everybody's sake, I hope it's either not true, which it's not looking like that, or there's a really good reason. So, but he isn't with the team as they're doing a little investigation. So,
Wow.
but now
Okay.
we'll go to Shohei.
Shohei, buy, wait, or too late.
I mean, you got to buy. You always buy if the price is right with Shohei. You know, is it a little too late on some things? He's got a long career ahead of him. He's going to break some other different records of some kind. I don't think it's too late to buy Shohei. You're going to pay more than you would have, a year ago, but I'm still on the buy train with Shohei.
Trout. Mike Trout. Buy, wait, or too late.
I mean, I think buy as well. His stuff's and because his stuff's slow. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Um, he's still got a few good years left in him for sure. This could be just a little injury stumbling block here of the last year or two. Um, again, all of this is based on if the price is right, of course.
Right.
But I wouldn't go super strong, thinking you're going to have a huge, big financial bounce back with him. But his stuff is so low right now. I think he's still a decent buy. And if
Mookie
you
Betts.
disagree with any of these,
No, if I don't chime in, I will. That means I agree. So, all right. Next is Mookie Betts. Buy, wait, or too late.
here's the tough part with Mookie. And I say this because I now have 6+ years of doing this for a living. His stuff just doesn't fetch much. And he's harder to sell. I have no one ever asking me for Mookie stuff. That's the only thing that makes me nervous there is that there's just not a lot of buyers. So if you're buying it, it may be a little tougher to sell it. Now, for how good he is, his prices don't bring what they should. His prices should be higher than they are. Um, but so I wouldn't be afraid to buy in the financial sense, only in the reselling sense, but also he's got a lot of career left in him too, right? At some point, he'll be on a championship team and be doing well, I'm sure, because if he's on a championship team, he's going to be a big cog in the wheel. Yeah, that's I don't have a lot of Mookie experience because literally in 6 years, I can count maybe on one hand how many people have asked for Mookie cards.
Interesting. Yeah, this is the only one that I would say that it's a buy. Like even more strongly than you're saying, because if you look at his numbers, I mean, if he just stays healthy, he's almost a lock
Sure.
for the Hall of Fame. So, bye. He's super likable. He plays for a huge market team. He's gonna be playing in September and October, so I would be
Maybe
buying.
maybe just like his potential end ceiling just isn't as high as some, but it would still be
Yeah.
higher than what you could buy him at now, probably.
Yeah, he's not as sexy as the other players. I mean, like the last guy I'm going to ask you about under the baseball category. you know, he's just not flashy like that. He's just really good. So the last guy under the baseball category is Acuna. Buy, wait, or too late.
I think he falls under that Otani umbrella. You're gonna now that you've waited this long, you're gonna pay a premium for him. But I've said it 2 years ago, and it's not like it was a big mystery, but like as long as he's healthy, he's super good.
Yeah.
And I think his last injury, it was a crash into the wall or something like that,
Or
or
his ACL. Yep.
it was super fluky, and so it wasn't like the way he was swinging or something was tearing something up. So I think you buy him. He's going to put together multiple 40-40 seasons, right? I mean, so yeah, I think you're going to pay a premium, but hey, you pay a premium on Brady and it never has done me wrong. So I think he's just starting to get into that Otani Acuna, level.
Yeah, and you bring up Otani. It's scary to think that those two might actually be suppressing each other's pricing because they're so good at the same time. So there's one theory that it's sort of the excitement's driving up their prices. But could you imagine if just one of them was like the shining star of the league and you didn't have to pick, then all the money would flow to that
Yeah.
one player.
Yeah.
So I think for me, because Acuna is probably not going to be seen as once in a lifetime, like no one's saying Acuna and Babe Ruth in the same sentence, right?
Yeah.
So there may be an opportunity for Acuna to dip a little bit after the season, but I don't. Shohei he's probably the most liquid trading card out there. I mean, sports card out there.
The only thing that scares me with Otani, and again, you could argue you can fall back on just his hitting, but he was out his last start with arm fatigue. Every now and again, he gets a little nagging injury that keeps him out for a. So it's like, is he really going to be a 10-plus game winner every year? A dominant number one starter and a 40 home run guy every year? Or is it just going to be a few of these core fluke years where everything goes right and he doesn't get injured? It's the only thing that kind of scares me with Otani. And if you like Otani, stick around till hits from the shop because we had a sweet one pulled today. That's a little teaser, but that's the only thing. Acuna, I just see he's going to do that 40-40 for a long time. And the Braves are going to win before the Angels are going to win. Although Otani, I'd be shocked if he's an Angel next year. But
yeah. The thing with Otani though is he could always go to the bullpen.
Yeah,
and he can always DH.
Yeah,
and so the longevity piece, it's just a special.
But his stuff is valuable if he's a bullpen reliever and then mostly a hitter.
Right.
As opposed to a 10, 20 game winner.
Both of those. If he shows up late in games, that's what people look for.
You know what I said when he was dealing with injury so much and they were trying to get him back, and I said, when he comes back from Tommy John, why don't they make him the closer? You only got to pitch him once every couple games, maybe back-to-back rarely, and then DH him every game, get your 40-plus home runs and your 300 batting average, and then use him as your closer and save him.
Saves. But he's
so much better. They're probably too far behind most games to use them as a closer. Maybe
right, let's switch gears. Football. Mahomes, buy, wait, or too late?
This is perfect scenario of Otani Acuna. You're going to buy at a premium. Actually, I think his stuff's even a little cool. Buy him in the off season. Someone told me today in the store that you could. They had a downtown Brady and it brings X amount of dollars. I said, yeah, just wait. They'll be 4-1, rolling everybody over like usual, and his stuff will be back on fire. So I think you're always safe. It's like Brady. You're going to buy Brady at a premium. You're always safe buying him. You're always safe buying Mahomes. He's the one that's kind of now a sure lock to be just long-time GOAT status. So you're a
Justin
little late
Fields.
in the sense of getting a steal, but you're safe to buy him.
All right. Justin Fields, buy, wait, or too late?
Normally, I would say wait, but I've seen he looks really good. So I lean towards buy now. But me personally, I'm still a wait because I'd rather pay a premium with a sure thing than get a deal on something that's not a sure thing. So that's one way to balance it as well. You know, some people, when they try to sell us a certain quarterback in the store, I'll say, we're not going to buy him yet, like maybe a Sam Howell or a Desmond Ritter.
Right.
I said, but I would rather pay more later knowing that he's on the right path than get a steal of a deal now where he's still a big gamble. So that's my thoughts.
Along those lines, the other Justin Herbert.
He makes me really nervous, even though he's really good. I took a picture of this and I'm like, where am I ever going to get to show this off? This is the perfect time for me to show this off. I found this at TJ Maxx the other day, and you will all get a kick out of this. And I'm leaving some dead space here so we can edit this out to me finding it quicker. So I found this the other day at TJ Maxx. Now that we're talking about Justin Herbert, I didn't know when I'd have the opportunity to even show anybody I took this picture, but I got some men's natural soap of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has his own men's soap. But anyway, Herbert makes me really nervous. My fear is that he ends up being a Phillip Rivers, a great, long-time, dependable quarterback that is just playing in the era of Burrow and Mahomes and Allen and Fields and all these other young Lawrence. That's my only fear with Herbert. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. Or you give me your thoughts on Herbert. Does he have all the talent and everything? Absolutely. But these guys do have to win for their cards to really move.
Yeah.
They've got to win. They got to do something like Trevor Lawrence did last year, come back in a playoff game from way down, do something not expected, break some sort of a record. Herbert's just going to be a good quarterback for a long time. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't even think that he's going to be a really good quarterback.
Hot take.
I think he looks the part. Everybody is rooting for this kid. He looks like an NFL quarterback. I mean, he's a good-looking kid. He's super marketable, but I mean, he slings the ball everywhere. The arm talent is there, but I think
it's more the
law of averages, right? You've got Herbert, you've got Burrow, who's the next guy I'm going to ask you about. There's Fields. There's all these young quarterbacks. Only a couple of them are going to be fantastic, and I just think he is going to fall back. The Chargers are going to give him another couple years, and then he may end up being. I'm calling it now. I think he's going to end up being a career backup. And people are going to root for him always because the fan base is going to love him because he'll put butts in seats. But
hot take. You heard it here from Michael. Here's what I've equated this era to. You've got in Brady's prime, Brady going to the Super Bowl and winning the majority of the rings. And every now and again, you got a Big Ben who will sneak a couple. You got Drew Brees that'll snag one. You've got Eli that steals one or two here and there. Aaron Rodgers got his in there. But most of the time it was Brady. This era is going to be Mahomes. Mahomes is going to flirt with the Super Bowl every year, but there's going to be one AFC championship game where Burrow sneaks through and snags a ring. Burrow, I think, is going to be like the Big Ben. He'll end with a couple rings. Herbert might be that Phillip Rivers just played in the Brady era, and one of them, Lawrence, will be the Drew Brees that snags a ring. I just think the majority of it's going to go to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So that would bring me to the next one, Joe Burrow. I think he'll be the Big Ben. I think he'll be, always battling with Mahomes, like Big Ben and Eli and those guys were always battling with Brady. And Mahomes will get the better of him most times, but Burrow will sneak a couple in there over his career. I'm so on that note, I'm a buy for Burrow. I think he's long time Hall of Fame good. Just think if they could protect him, he's what? He's already flirted with the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship every game, every year he's played. So that's my take.
For me, it's a wait on Burrow. It's a wait because
you can be wrong. That's okay.
All roads lead through Kansas City in the AFC, and it's just tough. It's just tough. So,
but Mahomes isn't going to win that every year. He's not going to win it every year. Even Brady wouldn't win it every year. Yeah. There was off days. There was bad calls. There was lucky helmet catches. There's going to be something that bounces. Burrow's going to be right there with them a lot of the time, I bet.
The last name here is your guy, Brady. Buy late or too late?
Oh, always buy.
Separate yourself. Separate yourself as a fan and a collector. Buy late or too late for Brady?
You're safe. He's just a safe buy, always is. He's going to go down as the greatest of all time. He's your Michael Jordan of the football side. Here's another thought, and you hate to say this, but he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't come back and play, he's going to go in the Hall of Fame in 5 years. His stuff will spike then. They'll do some big documentary of his life, or like they did with Jordan in 10 years. There'll be something, but knock on wood, at some point he'll die, and you don't know if it's sooner than later. So he's one of those guys that when he passes away, there's just going to be this huge nostalgic GOAT, greatest of all time. And I think of that like sometimes you just don't know. Some of these guys are going to pass away, even you just think of the Randy Mosses or some of these guys where Kobe Bryant was a prime example. We did not buy Kobe Bryant rookie cards when they came into the shop before he passed away. And now we'll buy any Kobe rookie that comes through the door. Yeah. So you can't predict those things, but outside of death, Tom Brady's pretty safe because you still got a Hall of Fame spike and his stuff. He's never going to get caught trafficking drugs or, dating 13-year-olds. He's going to be solid. Sorry, Wander, but he's going to be solid and safe for a long time. You're going to pay a little bit of a premium. You're going to pay the GOAT premium, just like you would on a Jordan. But I mean, what's the most bought and sold card at the National is the Jordan rookie, I think. Yeah. And it's like, those are huge money, and it's Jordan, and the card's been around forever. It still brings. So you can buy, again, it'll be a little bit of a premium, but buy now over the next couple years when he's not in football, his prices will, his downtowns ungraded and kabooms you can get for decently cheap compared to what they used to be. Yeah. And then
for me, he signed a big contract with Fox, right? Like a gazillion dollar
more
contract.
Money than he got playing football.
Right. I would wait to see what he's like in the booth, how people react to him as a commentator, to see if there's going to be a little bit of a dip if he sucks. I don't think he will. He's probably never sucked at anything like that.
What's going to happen?
Professional football. What's that?
He's going to do so well as a commentator. And again, I know I'm a collector. I'm just saying this. Here's why. Throughout his whole career, he never would give you anything. You got podium Brady, and you're half the time I'm like, come on, dude, be cocky, be funny, right, be goofy, and he won't be those things. But I think he'll start to be those. The curtain will get pulled back, and people will start to really. It's like with Romo, they're like, this guy's actually really smart, and he's really funny, and he's really likable, and all of a sudden he's the best commentator on NFL sports right now. So I think Brady will be that way in the sense that people will enjoy listening to him because they've never gotten a real sense of a real person because he's been under Belichick for so long.
Right.
People loved when he got toasted and threw the Lombardi trophy over the boat. And that just wasn't, you got to peel back the layers and see a little bit of non Belichick Brady. And I think commentating will do that. Hopefully he just doesn't suck as a commentator, but I can't imagine he would.
Yeah. All right. Switch gears. Basketball. You already mentioned Jordan and Kobe. Buy weight or too late for them?
Well, with Kobe, it's too late to buy low and sell at the super spike, but yeah, anything autographed of his, that's just the way it goes. When they pass away, there's no more autographs. So autograph stuff of theirs. Jordan's another one too. He's going to pass away at some point. Heaven forbid it's unnatural, but he's not a spring chicken and you just never know what happens. So, I don't think it's too late on those. That's kind of tough. There's a lot of these guys you're just going to have to pay a premium, but it's like buying vintage Mickey Mantles. You're going to have to pay through the nose for them now, but they just never seem to go down.
Right.
I remember when we took the store over in 2017, you could get a PSA 1 Mickey Mantle for 10 grand. It was like the most beat up Mickey Mantle was 10 grand. PSA 1 that was just the going price. Now they're like 20 or 30 grand. 20 if it's bad and 30 if it's a really good looking PSA 1. And that's just in a few years it did that. And so How many other cards can you buy at 10 grand and sell at 20 grand a few years later? That's crazy. So Jordan and Kobe, in my opinion, are the same way like Brady. You're going to pay a little bit of a premium, but they're just super safe buys and they're never going to tank. And at some point, Jordan.
LeBron James.
I mean, I'm going by like if these cards came through the store, we'll buy any LeBron rookie, no questions asked. Like they're just safe buys, the GOATs. And when people are, should I buy Trevor Lawrence or should I buy this or that? Buy the GOATs. I don't like LeBron, but he's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. And, you're going to get the retirement boost. You're going to get the Hall of Fame boost. You're going to get the documentary one day boost, and you're going to get the playing with his son before all that, playing with his son boost. And there'll be a big spotlight on him. And man, if he could somehow just sneak out one more ring, then you got another spike.
Yeah. You're a guy, and he wasn't on this list. I'm replacing one of the guys that I'd written down. Buy, wait, or too late on Luka Doncic?
Oh man, I think he's buy all day long.
Yeah.
And again, another one that comes through the door will buy any Luka anytime. They didn't make the Kyrie experiment. They didn't make the playoffs. Normally they sneak into the playoffs and then Luka puts the team on his back and draws all the attention because he carries them with nobody. And he's just going to be an all-time, I said it 5 years ago, the dude's going to lead the league in scoring by the time it's all said and done. If LeBron would just hurry up and retire, because LeBron's just going to keep widening that gap. But Luka is so young. Like, didn't he come in? A rookie is like 19 or something like that, yeah. 18, 19. So he's so young still. All he does is score. He's not driving to the hoop and dunking and twisting and getting injured. He's just going to put up 30 every night for the next 15 years. And I say bye. He's really low right now.
He is. I agree. All right. One more, actually two more on the basketball side. And I'll combine these to just move things along. I've got Tatum and Booker. Buy, wait, or too late?
I may have to lean on you for these. When it comes, this is a little bit of a cheating because really all the names you said, very few of them are controversial. Right. And a lot of them fall under that. These are really good buys most of the time, especially if the price is right. But Booker is going to be in that Mookie Betts category for me.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
Yeah, his buyers are very niche, and his stuff's low for how good he is.
He is so good, and his stuff is criminally low.
Yeah. It's like Ozzy Albies stuff. His stuff, it should be against the law for his stuff to be as low as it is. Every time I look at Acuna's stats, I see, oh, Albies hit another home run.
Yep.
All he does is hit. But yeah, Tatum's another one. We'll buy Tatum rookies anytime they come into the store. As long as you leave us a little meat on the bone, we'll buy it because he's going to get a ring at some point too. And Booker, I don't know. Right? That's just a little unknown. So you'd probably be a better answer on these, but I know Tatum is good enough that any rookie, I think, at the right price is worth buying right now.
I think both of them.
I think the ceiling potential is good. I just don't see it on Booker because of the hobby.
Yeah, I think if you do your best to go fast forward 25 years, I think both of them will end up being in the top 100 players that ever played. I mean, they're that good. It's just I don't know if they'll ever have the hardware next to their names to solidify that. All right, before we leave this segment of Behind the Counter, two other guys in two other sports that we do not talk hardly anything about, but he's a household name. Even I know his name, and I don't know anything about hockey, but there's this guy, Connor McDavid. Apparently he's on a trajectory to be the greatest ever. He's probably halfway through his career. He's still fairly young. Buy, wait, or too late, Connor McDavid.
Well, you're asking the wrong person, but with that trajectory, I would say buy. I do know the name for being a highly sought after one, but I didn't know. Again, in hits from the shop coming up, we have Alcaraz. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
I never even heard of the guy. Yeah. In fact, the customer that pulled the card never even heard of the guy. And then we started looking up cards, and we were like, "Whoa, who is this?" And then someone gave us a little education on him. So Connor's going to fall in that route for me. It sounds like, from a rookie's perspective, sounds like he's going to be an all-time, and you better buy him now while you can.
Yeah,
before he is. So
yeah, I mean, if you look backwards at what Gretzky did, he's right there as far as numbers. Now, I don't know if he'll be as beloved as Gretzky. And one of the questions that we'll be answering in a bit will tap into that. But yeah, I think it's a buy on Connor McDavid now. Just go ahead, buy the best one you can get, and just tuck it away because that guy's he's gonna be an all-time great. All right, let's move on to listener questions. All right. We've got a couple listener questions. Jacob, they're in the banners. Let's get that first one there about damaged cards. Oh. Just heard your episode on damaged cards. Can you break down the packaging tips you discussed for beginners like me? And how should I address buyers if they received a damaged card? Josh?
Oh, that's tough. So we've talked about in the past packaging the cards. Painter's tape, never Scotch tape. People
never Scotch tape. Please don't do that.
Never Scotch tape on a top loader. Use painter's tape. I painter's tape the top load. I sandwich it between two pieces of cardboard, and then I painter's tape around the cardboard and painter's tape around the cardboard. Padded envelope. Never had a problem. How should I address buyers if they receive a damaged card? I would say, wasn't my fault. I packaged it good. I know it. Back to the post office. That's hilarious. A tough one, man. I don't know how. I guess it would just depend on the situation. But if it's a low-level card and we're a store and the car is damaged and it seems legit, we just take care of the customer. That's all you can do. It's a high-end card, and this might be something you do on the side. These are your personal cards. You need to use some good judgment there. Just know you're risking repeat sales with that person and potential bad feedback. So it's tough. But if you package really, really well, you can remedy a lot of that. your thoughts, because you sell personally on eBay and ship some stuff too. So
I do. So, do the same thing you do with graded cards. Raw cards, I'll put them in a top loader or team bag and then surround them with, and if I can, if I've got time, I don't do this type of volume you do, but what I try to do is if it's a raw card, I'll pull some commons of either that same player or that team. So if someone buys an Acuna, they're going to get a whole bunch of base Braves stuff to help protect it. And so uh, if it's a single card and it's like, and I'm sending it in a what is it called? eBay standard envelope, then I won't do that. I'll do that to the point for you guys that don't know, eBay standard envelope, you can ship a single card or cards as long as it's less than 3 ounces and thinner than a quarter inch, and you can ship it for 87 cents. And so that way you don't sell a 99-cent card and someone's paying $4.99 shipping. It doesn't make any sense. So,
yeah,
but as far as if it's damaged, like you said, take care of the person if you can. If it smells funny, if it's like this person's trying to pull a fast one on me, I sent this in pristine packaging. They're saying it's damaged. The pictures look wonky when I ask for pictures or they won't send pictures. Then you're like, you know what? Take that up with eBay or the post office because I know I got it to you in great shape.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
All right. Next question, Jacob. Could you elaborate on the impact of a card's grade on its value? I'm particularly curious about how subtle differences in grading can affect the investment potential of a card. Let me jump in here. So, if you collect long enough, or you listen to people that collect and invest, you'll hear this term a collector grade, or investment grade. So typically, from what I've heard, is an investment grade on a card is maybe an 8 and above. Like that is a card that will increase in value because it's in such good shape. A collector grade, if you're just collecting, if you just want a card of a player you love and don't care about the grade, but you want it authenticated, it really doesn't matter. So, but as far as differences in grading, I have an issue with right now with how extreme the difference between a PSA 9 and a 10 are. I think it's out of hand.
Especially when you look at some of these PSA 10s and you're like, really? This got a 10? Or we've had lately, it's been like we've seen some PSA 6s, for instance, or 7s, and we're just studying that card and cannot find a flaw on it. A 6 or a 7 should be pretty obvious when you lay eyes on it. This is damaged. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't like. Look, here's the sad truth of it. PSA is king when it comes to grading and resale value. Will that change? Maybe one day, but it doesn't look like anytime soon. So I would say my bigger issue is the difference between an SGC 10, a Beckett 10, and a PSA 10. Or even I don't want a CGC, but those top level grading companies, how the price can differ so much from all of their 10s, and PSA just gets crowned as king. And so people in the store have heard me say it. Look, if it's stuff that's going into my personal collection, I'll grade it through a different grading company because I like the looks of the slab better. But if it's a card that I need to resell at some point and get the most bang for my buck, I got to send it to PSA. It's just necessary evil of it. Here's another beginner question we get asked on the phone a lot. I have a 1954 Bowman Mickey Mantle. How much is that card worth? Well, to a beginner, it's that card. What's the card worth? I understand the question, but it varies on the grade so much. A PSA 1 could be worth, $100, and a PSA 10 could buy you 4 mansions in Florida. So there's a huge difference in that. So the card's value is based on its condition as one of the value evaluators. So here's another example. Someone I was with at the National said, hey, looking at a Brady Bowman Chrome rookie card. And I can get I saw a 9 in someone's case for $2,500, and I saw an 8 for $1,500. This guy wants 10,000. No, he said, this guy has a PSA 10. And I said, is it priced at 10,000? He said, yeah. There's that big a difference between a 9 and a 10, and there is. So you got to think too, the Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie card, another perfect example. A PSA 8 is like $100. I'll just throw these numbers out there. A PSA 9 is like $200, and a PSA 10 is like $2,000. It's because getting that 10 is just so much harder than an 8 or a 9. And so I like that. That's the way it should be. But that's how the grade affects the value, because getting 10s in theory should be really, really hard on a card that's 20 or 30 years old or older.
All right, Jacob, one more. You pick.
Survey says, as someone who's been to a few shows, I'd like to hear your advice on maximizing the experience. What strategies do you recommend for navigating conventions and optimizing card hunting? I will die on this hill. You will sell more cards if your cards are priced and priced correctly, fairly correctly. I shopped a lot of cards at the National, and if they didn't have prices on their cases, I moved right along. And sometimes it's not because it annoyed me, but it's because I need to now get that dealer's attention, and he's 10 people deep. And I just need to know if I have a shot at this card or if it's in the ballpark of what, So here is an example. I saw Brady 2022 Contenders cracked dice, numbered to 23, not autographed, not graded, not nothing. I thought in my head, I think that's like $100 or less. I would like to own that card. Excuse me, sir. How much is the Contenders Brady there? He picks it up, flips it over, looks on the back, and says $900. I said, $900? He said, yes. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I wasted his time. I wasted my time. He had the price on the card. It was just on the back. And so I thought, that guy's out of his mind. I went and looked it up later that night just because I was still thinking about it. And yeah, they were $800 or $900 on eBay is what people were asking for them, which I thought was crazy. But anyway, most of the time I don't say, excuse me, sir, how much is that? Because when you do that, you then have opened yourself up to a salesman. And if he says $2,000, you say, oh, okay, never mind. Then you feel inferior. If he said, but if you walk by the booth and the card has $2,000 listed on it, I know I'm going to keep moving along. This is not something in my price range that I'm going to buy today. So if it has $200 on it, maybe that's in my price range, and I know he'll come down a little bit from there. So that's my shopping or my setting up experience. Here's one other tidbit that was really cool. We said the guy bought all of our cards at the National, right? You were there. He bought the person we were with's cards. He bought all of our cards. As he's comping these things and coming up with price, and we're just kind of getting to know him, we said, hey, what makes you stop it at our booth or someone's booth and make an offer to buy all of their cards? Because you could do that at any booth. What was special about ours? He said, if I go by a booth and their cards, they've got $100. I know an Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. PSA 8 cards, $100. If they've got $300 on it, I don't stop. I'm not going to deal with them. We're going to be too far apart. Their prices, they're either not good at pricing or they're not realistic with their prices. He said, if they've got 130 on it, all right, that's close enough to comps. I know I could work with this person. And so sometimes by pricing your cards and pricing them appropriately, you might stumble on to someone that says, I want to buy every card you have at 75% of eBay comps, and I have cash right now. That's and I'll die on that hill. I know you've disagreed with me on that in the past, but I will die on that hill. It's a ton more work. I get it. and you're not being able to, like, the idea is that they're going to ask about that card, and then you've got them in your grips and you can negotiate and you can give them the sales pitch, but you're going to waste a ton of breath. Your turn.
Well, I would I would encourage you to reference the 10 things that we learned from the national episode. So go back, take a look at that episode. But I've come around to that. I haven't set up at a lot of shows. I'm not a professional at this, but if you looked at my setup from when I first started to when my more recent shows, I split it. The first few shows I did, I priced everything. The last few shows I did not put pricing on there. And maybe it was a function of the market cooling a little bit. Maybe it's a function of the cards that I had in showcase, but I did sell more when I had the prices on the card. So
yeah, and sometimes, like, if you say, hey, I went to a show, I didn't price anything, and man, I did more at this show than I've ever done. That could have just been a really hot show, the right time.
yeah.
Smaller shows where it's a little more informal and a little more personal, some people are a little more likely, like, hey, let's talk about this card and negotiate with it. But I just think at the big shows, I literally just moved on from, unless it was a card like I just had to ask about, or like that $900 one, I really thought those are like $50. And so I'm going to ask him, and if he's in that ballpark range, I'm going to buy it, because I wasn't afraid of it being $900, but I should have been. But just my thought. Now, the question does say, what strategies do you recommend for navigating conventions and optimizing card hunting? Here's two things. I like to, like I do at a shopping mall when I'm looking for a pair of pants, I browse all the stores and see them all, and then I go back to the one and buy the one that I want. Your risk at a card show is that card not being there when you come back, and we saw that, like you said in that episode, the card you had your eyeball on. If you see a card, you want it, the price is right, you better snag it, because at a card show, it's probably going to get snagged. So be careful with that. If a card show like the National, I kind of spent that first day just kind of perusing everything for the most part, and then it was like, all right, I feel like now I need to go back and buy some things, because I don't want to spend my budget right out of the gate and then stumble upon some cool things after that, and now I don't have any money to spend. But you run the risk, if you do that, of missing out on the card.
Now we've arrived at what is becoming probably the most popular segment of the show, because some of the cards we're seeing have just been bangers, especially lately. Hits from the shop. Josh, Jacob's gonna put these on the screen, and let's go over some of the things that have come from the shop.
Everybody likes to see cards that are pulled from the shop, because that means the everyday buying customer is supporting a local shop and pulling some great cards as well. Nobody wants to hear about rich people at card shows buying expensive cards. That's not us, but you see that all the time. Like, hey, look, this guy spent 50 grand on this card. You want to see cards that people are pulling out of the packs at the local hobby shops. This year's Prism, remember we talked about those manga inserts? We got a couple of them. This was pulled, I kid you not, today by a young man, a teenager, who bought a Prism hobby box, came back into the store and showed us this card. So very sweet manga insert. Customer sent me this. This is the second Sub-Zero I've seen pulled from this store. The Jordan Walker that we pulled in the break. And then I know this isn't Jordan Walker, but it's Michael Grove. This card's numbered -5 out of 0. So that's that Sub-Zero Topps Chrome insert. Really cool. Not super low numbered, but anytime you get a sweet looking Ohtani like that, this is out of that new Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary. We sold multiple cases of this product since it's come out. We are sold out currently. I'm working on getting some more, but a customer hit that. I think it's numbered to 99 or 50 or something. Nice little Desmond Ritter out of Score. Score hobby boxes don't cost an arm and a leg. You get 4 autos. This was one of them that a customer pulled. I can't remember what it's numbered to, but it's pretty low numbered. And this was the big one we were talking about. So the customer pulled this, and I was like, hey, that could be pretty good, I think. I mean, it's got Nadal on it. This card is a 1 of 1. So we quickly looked up a Nadal Leaf auto that was numbered to 8, and it sold for like $750. And then we're like, I don't know who this Carlos Alcaraz is. We started looking up dual autos of theirs, and it was like big money. We roughly value this one at maybe $1,500. So, and I learned that dude is really good, apparently.
He is.
Select Draft, it's a cheap product, but you know me, I'm a sucker for tie-dyes. A customer pulled this Josh Allen tie-dye, number to 25. Also thought this was cool. I think this came out of the same box. Doug Flutie auto, just very unique. We thought it was picture worthy. That's a 1 of 1. It's a little first round bound Anthony Richardson rookie auto for the Colts. That's a 1 of 1 if I remember right. And then we have a little bit of a Leaf Vibrance run. So Leaf Vibrance is 2 premium autos per box, and here's just some of them. Wayne Rooney. We'll just kind of mow through some of these. Dual Joe Montana, John Taylor. That's a pretty cool 49er lovers card. Speaking of, nowadays it's hard to find a card Joe Montana hasn't signed. I know, but there's a nice Joe Montana auto. Look at that. You don't see Giannis on the cards very often, but customer hit that one as well. The new set, Obsidian Flames Pokemon, we've been selling the daylights out of it since it launched last Monday. This is one of the big chasers out of it, the Charizard EX Gold. Little 4-way auto. Leave your comments. Why are these 4 on the same card? There's always kind of a connection between these two. Anthony Munoz, Jim Covert, Walter Jones, and Willie Rofe. I don't think the connection is they're all linemen. If you have any reason they all went to the same college or they all did something similar, I don't know. If you can figure it out, leave a comment. We were trying to figure it out in the store. Urban Meyer, you and I saw him walking around the National a couple times, so that was cool. The Temple of Boom, Jose Canseco auto. I like the design of that card. We got Emmitt Smith auto. It's always a good day if you can pull one of his autographs. Sosa, back when he was African American. Just kidding. You can edit that out. Yeah. You have to edit that out or we'll get canceled. But I had to say it. Oh. Here we've got Sammy Sosa auto. Inside joke there. Rookie phenom, Danny Gray. Just a nice little jersey piece. That was, I think a customer pulled that out of a blaster, so he was proud of that one. It's a sweet looking card. We said, oh, why couldn't that have been Brock Purdy because it's from the 2022 stuff, but number to 10. That was number to 10. Spencer Rattler, big old jumbo patch out of Leaf Trinity, number to 30. See him in next year's draft, right? This Quinn Ewers, I don't know enough about him. For someone told me his stuff sells pretty good. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of it out there. That is a 1 of 1, so I'm like, let me take a picture of that one. That's pretty sweet. Trey McBride, no, this is a 1 of 1, so 1 of 1 autos are always worthy. It's a rookie out of Leaf Trinity. And then the first manga that we saw come out of the shop, Cal Ripken. These cards are just really cool. I think that's someone told me today they hit a Ricky Henderson manga, so we're hoping to get them to send me a picture of that as well. And then the last one, this was pulled today out of our Bowman's Bet hobby box. Yeah, it's definitely a good day if you can pull a die cut numbered on card Shohei Ohtani rookie, not rookie, autograph. And there you have it. And that was hits from the shop. Like always, we don't get everything that's pulled from here. Those are just a few of the ones that get opened in the store.
All right, Josh, let's wrap things up. If you guys have made it this far in the episode, thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, leave a review, ask questions. We'll do our best. But we're going to wrap things up with crazy stat of the week. And I actually have
You have one?
two.
Okay. I've got one or two. You start with yours while I pull
Okay.
mine up.
So, in honor of the NFL preseason, do you know that what's the in honor of the NFL preseason, Josh? Do you know the only team to go winless in the preseason and win the Super Bowl?
Patriots.
And wrong. I knew you were gonna.
Well, I just
guess
figured
that.
Brady never plays the preseason hardly, and
Blah
so
blah blah. It was actually the 1982 Redskins. It was a shortened season, and they went 0-2 and ended up winning the Super Bowl. On the other side of that, name the two teams that went 4-0 in the preseason and then went 0-16 in the regular season.
Browns,
Is one of them, and
Jaguars, Lions.
the Lions was the other.
Those would be fairly
So,
recent then, right?
yes, 2008 Lions, 2017 Browns. Both went 4-0 in the preseason, 0-16. I was on a little kick seeing if the preseason meant anything. It
Apparently
doesn't. So, all right, Josh.
I will say
take
I
us
use
out.
this. I use this analogy all the time in the shop too. A lot of people don't remember because a lot of people have gotten into the hobby after this, but Otani had a really bad preseason when he was first a rookie. And I remember people going, this dude ain't going to be able to hack it over here in America. And his preseason was horrible. He's getting rocked. But all right, I have two stats as well. These guys are twins, apparently both for the San Francisco Giants. I don't know if you know Tyler Rogers and Taylor Rogers. Their ERA, one has 2.54, the other is 2.52. One has 45 strikeouts, the other has 46 strikeouts, and their whip is both 1.09. They're identical twins for the Giants, and their stats are almost identical.
That's
pretty crazy. So, and then the other one to end up on, you remember the other night, what's his face for the Phillies threw the no-hitter? Did you see the highlights of that?
I did.
So 4 pitchers and 4 pitchers only have played in the majors after attending Fullerton Union High School in Fullerton, California. So 4 pitchers are the only 4 pitchers have come from, there's 4 pitchers that have come from that high school that played in the major leagues. Now, after this one the other night, all 4 have thrown a no-hitter in the MLB.
That's bananas.
This meme says, this is simply an incredible baseball fact, most amazing ever. So
that's crazy.
That is crazy. 4 pitchers have come out of that high school to go pro, and now all of them have thrown a no-hitter because there's like just a couple hundred no-hitters in history, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
Well, with that, we're wrapping up another episode. Thanks again, Josh. Thank you for your time. Thanks. Always good spending time with you on Monday evening. Jacob, thank you for producing. Guys, we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Peace.